What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Forza Horizon 5 here in the spring season of series number 14. Today we're driving around in our Ferrari 812 Superfast that we unlocked in the last video, doing the Mo Power Baby Road Seasonal Championship. So if you haven't seen that, definitely go check it out after this video. But today we are jumping in to the Money Pit Seasonal Street Racing Championship. So let's take a look at that. So this one here will get us the 2012 Jaguar XKR-S, and our car restriction is D-Class 500, and we have to use the 1994 Mazda MX-5. So I've got 3 different MX-5s set up for today. They'll be distinguished by their color. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that, and we'll jump over here and get into our first race. Alright, our first one here is Tunnel Run, and we're jumping into the red Mazda MX-5. Up on the screen you will see the tune sheet that we've got set up for it. On there will be the share code for the tune, the name of the tune, and name of the tuner. And we'll see what this thing can do. I'm going to use 3 different tunes on each of the cars that I use today, just to show you guys different options. But just note that you can use one car, one tune for all 3 and be perfectly fine. So we're just trying to find kind of what the best is that we've used, and then I can make you guys a suggestion after the 3 races to see, you know, which of the 3 tunes worked out the best for me. Another thing to kind of note right now is that this is a seasonal championship, so you don't necessarily have to come in first place on all 3 of these races. It is points based, and you'll get points based off of where you finish, so you can't necessarily come in last, but you do not have to come in first on all 3 of the races. So if we don't end up catching up to Mr. Poseidon up here in this race and you come in second, then we'll get 16 points. He'll get 20, and then we'll just have to make sure that we have more points than him after all 3 of the races are complete. But we'll be able to take a better look at that after this race, and then we'll take a better look at it after the second race, where we've got 2 races worth of points on the leaderboard. So looks like we are going to be able to get past him though, just a little bit of bump. We're going to say that he turned into us though. But up in the first we go. This is a big change from the S2 racing we were doing in the last video. We were at basically the top class in the last seasonal championship, driving extreme track toys, and now we're in D class, the lowest of the low, driving little Miatas. So big change up here, but we're still in first. We don't have necessarily the best brakes in this tune, but it works. So about 75% through the race now, so we're looking good. So speaking of street racing, if you haven't seen on my channel, I've been playing through the new Need for Speed Unbound game. If you want to check those out, definitely go find that playlist on my channel. It's actually pretty fun. I wasn't sure if I was going to like it or not, but I've always been a fan of the Need for Speed games. I really wish they would remake Most Wanted, the original Most Wanted from 2005 or whatever it is. But there's just something about running from the cops and a souped up car, and it's just what makes it fun. So there we go, across the line. That is a first place on race number 1. As we get to the leaderboard here for the race, you can see there on the far right we did get 20 points for coming in first. If I hit continue, there's the championship leaderboard, and this is what you have to be in first place on after all 3 of the races. So just keep an eye on that. We'll take a better look at it after the next race, but we'll go ahead and jump into our next Miata and into that next race. Alright, here we go with Guanajuato Sur as our next race, and we are jumping into the blue Mazda MX-5. And the tune sheet will be up on the screen for this tune. As always, the share code, name of the tune, and name of the tuner are on that sheet. For your reference, sometimes the share code can change. If a tuner goes in and makes any kind of adjustment to the tune, whether it be something as small as tire pressure changes, it will change that share code. So if you cannot find it from the share code, you can use the tune name or name of the tune to be able to find it in the Creative Hub. So, but we're already up in the first place with this one, so it seems to be doing pretty well. Definitely has a little bit of understeer, but you know, if you're playing all 3 races with it, probably get used to it pretty quick. I feel like I've already kind of gotten a little accustomed to it. The nice thing about being in D-Class is it's easier to drive, so understeer is really not as much of a factor because you can't really be going, you know, too fast. So we'll go ahead and hit the brakes hard here, slide around that turn. Yeah, looking good. Up into first. There's the understeer really bad there, but that was just me not paying attention, looking back and contemplating life, right? So, but yeah, I'd like to know what you guys think of the new Need for Speed Unbound game. I know I saw a few comments on my first video saying that they weren't a big fan of the anime, you know, effects on the car. And, you know, to an extent, I understand that. But what I can't fault the game developers for is trying to kind of think outside the box. If you think about racing games, there's really not too much innovation that you can really have in a racing game, and especially a street racing game. So, you know, there's not so much that you can do to make it stand out from the previous game or stuff like that. I mean, even Horizon here, I mean, outside of the map being different, there's really not too much of a change, right? Compared to Horizon 4. Other than, like, you know, the map is different. We don't have seasons in the same aspect as we did in Horizon 4, where, you know, winter made the entire map snowy. But there's really not too much that you can do from a, like, racing perspective to make a game stand out and be much different than the predecessor or competition or stuff like that. So I can't fault them for going that route because it is something different. It is something new. And again, like, at first I wasn't the biggest fan of it, but when you're like really playing the game, like, to me all that stuff kind of disappears and I'm just racing. I mean, it's kind of cool. It's kind of, you know, out there. But let me know what you guys think down below. In my opinion, I think it's different playing the game than it is watching the game played. Because when you're playing the game, you're sitting there, you're racing, you're not paying attention to everything else going on. But that's just my opinion. Like, all that stuff kind of goes to the, you know, the back of my mind whenever I'm, you know, sitting there trying to, you know, beat somebody in a race or whatnot. But like I said, you can't really fault the game developers for trying something. And like, outside of that, the game I've really enjoyed the little bit that I've played so far. It's got some really corny dialogue, but I think that makes it a little bit more fun. But that's just me. But back to this game, we've got 20 more points in our championship here. That was a pretty good tune. It has a little bit of understeer, but definitely much faster feeling than the other car. So, but we've got 20 more points. If I hit continue, we are at 40 in total on the championship. You can see we are 8 points ahead of second place now, so we just have to maintain that point difference, and then we'll win the championship. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into our last car and start up our last race. All right, here we go. Our last race, and jumping in to the white MX-5. As always, the tune sheet will be up on the screen, and we'll see what this final tune can do against these other racers. So we're off. Still a little slower from the get-go. I think this one's a little heavier. I think it's like 200 pounds or something. So you're talking in terms of the Miata, and 200 pounds is quite a bit. Come on, get out the way. Get out the way. I don't don't know why there's aero on this one. Especially in D-Class, I don't necessarily think that you need any kind of aero, so. But it is what it is. We'll see how it handles some of these turns, if it can do better than the drivers of the other ones. That would have probably been a really good turn if they weren't in front of us. Probably would have been able to maintain a good amount of speed. But unfortunately, they were blocking us more or less. Understeer. It is all-wheel drive. All three of the ones I've used today are all-wheel drive, so understeer is just going to be present, I guess. Come on. Let's push. So, I don't know that we can come in fourth and still win the championship, so we could definitely win in second or probably third, I'd imagine. Just gonna jump in there, up to second. Sometimes you gotta use the driver tires to your advantage. A little guardrail around that turn from third place now, so you know, that kind of helps you out a little bit. So they had to brake around that while we really didn't. So I don't know that they necessarily had to brake, but they did hit the brakes around that turn, and we were able to go pretty flat. We didn't even have a warning on the driving line, so pretty good. Just gonna hold it flat through there. Probably let off a little bit through this turn. There we go. So we're just 62% through this race. I swear D-Class takes so long to do some of these races. Probably should have been a little harder on the brakes from the get-go there, but we'll take it. You know, we're out. Just got to block this guy coming up. He tries to go around, we'll cut him off. Tries to go around, we'll cut him off again. Easy enough to do, keep him behind us. This is a good place to practice your trial event blocking skills of the drivatars. If you haven't seen that video, I did post a video about tips and tricks on trial events, on just being a good teammate. And part of that is trying to block drivatars to allow your team to catch up or get ahead of them and stuff like that. So this is probably a good event to practice that on, with it being D-Class, slow enough, and you won't get zoomed by necessarily by the drivatars. But we are finally at the finish line for another first place finish in our championship. So that will get us 20 more points, give us 60 in total on the championship, and that should give us a Jaguar XKR-S. Alright, but there we go. That was the Money Pit Street Racing Championship here in the spring season of series number 14, and a good way to unlock the Jaguar XKR-S, which is a relatively good car. I use this one pretty often in some of our seasonal championships where I can. So another great car to add to your collection to use in championships down the road. So I hope you guys did enjoy the video or found it helpful. If you did either, definitely leave a like on the video. Definitely get subscribed for future Forza Horizon 5 content just like this. I plan on trying to get the rest of the seasonal videos out for the spring season out today. If I don't get a chance to record and edit them all today in a timely manner, they'll be out today and into tomorrow morning. So like I said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and we will catch you in the next video.